We've got one end user that is using a little bit of hard white spring or hard white winter, mainly in Saskatchewan. There's like one farm in Alberta growing some, so very small market class. So we'll move on from there. There could be some premium, but it seems like it's more of a Saskatchewan thing for this end user. So if you want to talk to Blair about that, he can connect you if you're at all interested. So, Ezra, do you want to say a few things about Coldfront or where you see it fitting in the market, or it's up to you? Come on up. You might as well come. They might as well see you. They want to talk to you after, anyways.
Yeah, I'm Esri, the marketing rep for CCAN. So if you have any questions about any of our varieties afterwards, you can come find me. Coldfront is a winter wheat. We're kind of positioning it as you might be familiar with AAC Wildfire. This is basically the next best thing. It's a little bit shorter, better yielding. Yeah, just there's always something that's just a little bit better every couple of years. So.
Well, it seems like we move winter wheat varieties fast because as the diseases change, the winter wheats seem to be, we have to move to new varieties to get ahead of certain diseases like rust and things like that in winter wheat. So growing an old winter wheat variety is probably not recommended because those change so fast and the breeders are just keeping ahead of that basically. So one thing I am seeing, like, this winter we were kind of trying to promote the GP Plus thing because general purpose and CPSs and winter wheats all selling into that GP Plus program, all into the same bin at the elevator basically, or for feed. The net returns on some of those actually look pretty good compared to CWRS this past winter. And so something to think about for this year, is the GP Plus program gonna still be good, or the feed market still good? Does that winter wheat make a lot of sense compared to a Durham right now, actually, and maybe for the next year, I'm looking where the Durham market is right now in the world. So potentially it's a good year to plant some Coldfront winter wheat. What we found with this on irrigation, it was a little shorter than Wildfire, stood a little better. A couple days earlier, didn't have the powdery mildew. Less powdery mildew risk with this one from what we've seen on the irrigation fields. And then dryland, it's just been a strong performer on dryland as well. So I think that's all I had for it. We do have a few other winter wheats we're testing. They're not registered varieties in Canada, but we're kind of demoing a few different varieties to see how they fit. Look okay, but can't say too much about them yet. So any questions on the winter wheats before we move along here to the trits? Sorry? You're here?
When are these ones seeded, the winter wheats?
Oh, yeah, sorry. September 18th.
Yep.
So September, actually, I should mention that. For ideal planting time, southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan, I would say August 25th is about the earliest you want to go. And maybe the perfect date is September 1st to 7th. But with winter wheat, it seems like you can go all the way to the 30th of the month. If you're more in central Alberta, Saskatchewan, it seems like August 20th to September 20th is kind of your window for a winter wheat. But it seems like the window's pretty wide. This year, winter wheat survived the winter better than the triticale, actually, which was surprising. Anything you want to add, Blair, on that? We do have inventory of this on hand. I mean, last fall was a challenging fall for people to plant winter crops. So we do have some inventory of some varieties on hand because we didn't sell as much as we normally do last fall, which usually the following year ends up being a much bigger year. It usually goes in cycles like that. But last year, the rain kind of stopped by mid-September, and then everyone got kind of dry and scared to plant, which maybe rightfully so. So we do have some inventory of this on hand, ready to ship. So.
On yield, irrigation versus dryland, how did your field do on that one?
Sorry.
On yields, how did those varieties, the Coldfront, how did that do compared to Wildfire on dryland and irrigation?
Anyone that compared them had, comment, you had something.
Yeah, we had 5% is what we saw typically. Yeah.
Yeah, that was even last year's demos, I think, right? Yeah. I would say, I think every customer we talked to had, if they were comparing it to another variety of winter wheat, they had a yield advantage with this one. So, in all situations. So.
Did you see any differences with seeding depth?
Oh, seeding depth. Yeah, I was going to talk about that with the trits. we didn't do a seeding depth comparison specifically, but on some triticales that didn't survive the winter well, it seemed like the more shallow the seeding depth was, and then we got digging around. This is something I kind of maybe forgot about or didn't realize that it was how impactful it was. But if you seed at 1 inch deep versus half an inch deep, that crown is deeper, can tolerate winter stress a little bit more, and with Ted with TriCal found some research out of the States that was pretty old research actually, from the 80s or 90s, and they showed seeding depth differences impacting winter kill patterns on some trits in the States. This is out of New York State, I believe, actually. So that is something I'll talk about just a touch more on the Arctic here as well. So as long as you're even, it's okay to go a little deeper, but it will delay how fast your crop pops in the fall to prevent wind erosion from that soil. But then, so you got to plant a little earlier if you're going to go a little deeper to prevent some wind erosion if that's a risk on your field. So there's always something going on, right? Whether it's winter kill or wind erosion or something. But evenness in any fall crop planting is key. You want every row to be popping at the same time. That's key from what I've seen this past winter. We had some fall crops on potato land, and the seeding depths were a little bit variable out there, and you could see exactly which row was too shallow or too deep or just right. It was just, the land was just a little too loose, I think, and the depth was variable. So, yeah. Yeah, so we do all of our nitrogen in the fall. If you were concerned about, like on winter wheat, people have used ESN if you're concerned and you want a more slow release for part of it. So we do all the N in the fall because in the past we used to try and spread it on. It had a snow or rain or something, could never get it on properly. And then we do a lot of fall rye as well now, and that needs nitrogen much earlier. And so with not a real high risk of leaching in this area, we feel like you can put it all in the fall without going to any inhibitors and things like that. Now you could put on an inhibitor on your nitrogen. You could do things like that, but we're doing it all in the fall across all the acres. Yeah. It's just too much. It's just too challenging to manage getting that on at the right time in the spring times with a spreader or an applicator. You could spray it on like that. That would be different if you want to spray it on, but that costs more money per bit of N you get as well. Winter wheat, you can use ESN because it doesn't need all that nitrogen right away. You go to a fall rye, you don't want to be using ESN. It needs all that N up front. It needs it all available earlier than you can get it on in the spring and consistently get a rain. So, all right, let's take a look here at the trit, and we'll start on the Arctic. Do you want to add anything, or do you want me to start? Okay. Let's go. Maybe half people will got to go past or around or stack up a little bit so everyone can kind of get in a little bit more.